I got POV, finding out you can legally hunt furries. Sorry guys, my game crashed. Again.
Hey.
No, it's the end of the world. And you've been lost your love. Okay, search up Juve. That'll make you feel happier. Search up Juve. Fallout 4. Dude, that dude is freaking funny. The glowing sea. You stupid, scaly.
It's what I live for.
Turrets. Do the glowing sea one. That one's the best.
Here you are.
Oh, where is it? Is it? Go ahead.
Never mind, two at a time. Okay, Hunter's a little bit harder to stumble. Shit. Dickheads! Back off! Back off! Yeah, what's up, Hunter? Oh, you fucking ass. Thank you! Thank you! Alright, one down. Oh, you think you're cool? You think you're a tough guy because you outlasted the death?
I love this scene.
You're just a coward. You let the death squad chase me, and you refused to help in the slightest. You eight-eyed, wannabe crab, stupid, scaly, fuck. Woo! King of the wasteland, baby.
Stupid, scaly.
A wannabe crab, stupid, scaly, fuck.
By the way, this city is very, very scared shitless of synths, and I'm just selling this bitch synth rifles. synth rifles. And without question, no, it was not that bad. I needed something with springs and aluminum. You're literally forcing yourself to deal with that. Tornado movies ranked?
So I watched every tornado movie, like literally every single one, to find out which movies are the best and which movies belong in the suck zone. It's the suck zone. Just the holiday
The hell?
season. And what better way to spend the holiday season with your family watching some tornado disaster films? And that's what we're doing. So get ready for some incredible tornado CGI, some very bad acting, and a ton of very dramatic, scientific-sounding weather jargon.
Upper level trough of low pressure across the south.
It's at least a 5 on the Fujita scale. It's anticyclonic.
Got a significant lift off the cold front and the temperature's decreasing rapidly with height. What's that mean, Dad?
Means more tornadoes.
Oh yeah, we also have the tier list. Only minor spoilers, so don't worry about that. But with that said, let's get into the first film, the 2014 film, Into the Storm. Into the Storm starts off with a very dramatic intro, and following said dramatic intro, we meet a group of storm chasers led by Pete, who's a massive jerk obsessed with filming tornadoes.
Look, there's not gonna be a next one.
Trey, we missed another one.
He's not in it for the science, he just wants the money, he wants the footage. One member of Pete's team is the very intelligent meteorologist Allison, who uses data to pinpoint probable tornado locations. However, Pete is not about it. He believes it's all about instincts. We also meet high school junior Donnie and his little brother Trey, and they both have been recently assigned a video time capsule project where they need to vlog throughout the day. Very convenient for a tornado movie, but it does kind of give this movie a very Cloverfield Blair Witch style, which is very cool. We also meet their dad Gary, portrayed by a lower budget
Gary.
Hugh Jackman. He's the high school vice principal, and he's also a jerk.
Dad?
Hey, come on. I'm having breakfast here.
He's just a little stressed out because it's graduation day. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, the weather begins to intensify, and the storm chasers capture their first tornado. This is also
I like how fake it
tornado
looks.
CGI, and it looks pretty good actually.
I mean,
it's a little clean.
Yeah, it does look a little
It
bit.
looks good.
I mean, yeah,
Unfortunately,
it does
It's
look
heading
good,
towards
yeah.
the high school graduation.
I love how, like, when you look at a tornado movie, they look really fake, but then I have no idea how the hell it happened. Okay, but the Wizard of Oz tornado looks freaking crisp. I have to add. Hold on. I remember seeing that video.
You don't suppose she could really be sick, do you? Oh, I've got to go home right away.
Sis, I thought you were going along with me.
Oh, no, I have to get to her right away. Come on, Toto. Come on. Why, Professor Marvel, and thanks a lot.
Better get on the cover, Sylvester. There's a storm blowing up a whopper. To speak in the vernacular of the peasantry, for
1939. Holy shit, that's good! That's crisp! That tornado is so crisp. Maybe it might be because of the low res of the movie, but that is a good tornado
I'm having breakfast here.
He's just a little
scene.
stressed out because it's graduation day. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, the weather begins to intensify, and the storm chasers capture their first tornado. This is also our first look at the tornado CGI. and it looks pretty good actually. It's a little clean for a tornado, but it looks good. Unfortunately, it's heading towards the high school graduation ceremony. At this point in the movie, the scenes get pretty intense and often terrifying. The rest of the day is essentially one massive tornado outbreak, all within the same city. Into the Storm might as well be called Joplin the Movie. It's very reminiscent of both the 2011 Joplin EF5 as well as the 2013 Moore EF5. Overall, I feel like this is the kind of movie that a tornado enthusiast would make. It's got all the tornado fan service, cool hip meteorologists, extreme storm chasers, inexperienced amateur storm chasers that professional storm chasers despise, scary tornado security cam footage, very reminiscent of the Joplin Middle School cameras, and of course, tornado intercept vehicles. I was pretty surprised at how good the tornado scenes actually looked. The CGI was great, and the sets were really well done. The scene that shows the destroyed suburban cul-de-sac looked super real. Also, I don't want to spoil anything, but the climax scene with like the eye of the tornado, that was sick. It really reminded me of that one scene in The Matrix Revolutions, or whatever that Matrix movie is. It was sweet. And the characters were, I don't know, they weren't great. I wasn't really interested in any of them, to be honest. And I can't get over the fact that the actor who plays Trey, Nathan Kress, also plays Freddy from iCarly. Trey spends pretty much the entire movie filming on his freaking camera. Dude,
I need to get a Polaroid so I can start snapping tornadoes. And
it's just alright.
If I ever find a tornado, I'm gonna snap it in Polaroid.
Entertained, but most would probably find it a little over the top because it is over the top. But for a tornado movie, it was pretty good. We're gonna put it in B tier. Next up, Atomic Twister.
Isn't that one the free
after
season one?
Watching Into the Storm, these tornado effects look so bad. This movie is ridiculous, almost to the point that it's hilarious. The acting is terrible, but there were many ironically enjoyable moments. The movie follows a cop named Jake, who had this traumatic as a child when he lost his mother. I mean, obviously that's from Twister. A lot of people have copied it. We also have Corinne, who's head of the nuclear power plant. Some of her co-workers...
800... Wait, hold on. 836 megas from a nuclear plant? Holy shit, bro. What are you doing with your life? That is ass.
Leaf of the film,
Just had to say
who's
that.
just dumb, honestly, and Neville, who's
800 megas, dude.
He should be in charge of the plant.
Dude, our wind turbine with 150 units generates like 150 mega. Like, bruh, get your shit together.
Wasn't fair. It's called affirmative action, Potter. They wanted a woman for the job.
Corinne also has a son named Campbell. He's
Caesar
really
girl.
into his babysitter. It's weird. Like, he wants to play Twister with her because he's a creep. I don't know. I do like the Twister reference, though. That's kind of funny. We also find out that Jake has some major girl issues.
2 women in 2 months, alright? It's not like I'm sleeping with the whole town.
He was engaged to this
What the
Ashley
hell?
girl, but he was too afraid to keep
Dude,
it, so she broke up
those
with him. And
those
Wait,
movies
Ashley-
where it's like, you watch for something like, you watch for tornadoes and you're like, watching some guy talk about how he sleeps with like 3 people and he doesn't want to sleep the entire time. Like, bruh, I want the tornadoes, not your romantic life. Like a brush shot. I want that. I want them
The
tornadoes.
movie just really annoys me.
June of what year, Jake?
It's like early 2000s Valley Girl accent. I don't know.
Jake.
Meanwhile, the weather is looking a little bleak. There's some tornado watches, and then suddenly we get a small tornado that hits the nuclear power plant. And in this scene, we meet the security guard, who is actually Carl Lewis. And if you don't know, Carl Lewis, he's a track and field legend in the 80s. I was a big track and field guy back in the day, back in high school. I did long jump, no big deal. The nuclear power plant starts having power issues due to a tornado hitting some transformers, and the team is in a race to prevent a nuclear meltdown as more tornadoes approach the plant.
Holy shit, 2 tornadoes?
Nuclear meltdown, Chernobyl-esque movie, and less.
I think the movie has a really good
There are
premise, but
several
it was
tornado
executed
scenes, but
poorly.
The majority of the film is spent at the power plant, dealing with pumps and water levels and meltdowns and heat issues. It's actually loosely based on a real-life event known as the Davis-Besse nuclear power plant tornado incident that occurred on June 24th, 1998. The movie is not good. Maybe ironically funny at points. The characters were not good. I mean, I kind of liked Corinne. She was pretty cool. We're gonna put it in the D tier, and we're moving on to the next film. The next movie on our list is the 1994 made-for-TV movie Night of the Twisters, based off of the popular book Night of the Twisters,
Boom,
by Rocky,
dead.
which is further based off of the 1980 Grand Island Nocturnal Tornado Outbreak. So the intro to Night of the Twisters might be the worst tornado scene I've ever seen in my entire life. We have our meteorologist, tornado expert, Bob. And Bob sees this massive tornado about to hit this family farm, and he's like freaking out because they don't notice it, even though I don't know how you couldn't notice a massive tornado.
Hey! Tornado! What? Twister!
The tornado looks at like 2.5 mile wedge, literally like only a few miles. Huh, where is it? I don't know. The giant like 2-3 mile tall, 1 mile wide freaking wedge. That, oh shit, there's a sentry bot right there. We just literally beat the game right now. I am become death. Destroy. Oh my god, that is atrocious. Oh shit. Oh my god, people! Let me in! I got lost. Mentally and physically.
It's wild. It's terrible. The effects, the barn blowing up. This is just to give you an idea of how ridiculous the tornado scenes are in this movie. So the main character in the story is Dan. He's really artistic, he's really cool, but he's got some issues
Hell
with his
yeah.
dad because his father, Jack, is an ex-Nebraska football player, and I don't know if you know about Nebraska football in the 90s, but it was kind of a big deal. Anyway, his dad wants him to be athletic and cool like him, but Dan's just an artistic guy, you know? And there's some tension there.
Because the wheel is completely out of whack.
I don't care if you have to drag the bike across.
There's also this girl named Stacy that Dan's got a little bit of a crush on. Oh, and of course there's Dan's mother, Laura, who's working at the diner all night. There's a high potential for severe weather, and Dan and his friend Arthur from California are just chilling at the house. Arthur's really into the weather. In fact, Arthur kind of reminds me of myself whenever a tornado comes out. I get pretty pumped, I get pretty excited. The weather gets more intense and the tornado sirens go off, and then Dan and Arthur start to freak out. And there are a ton of misconceptions in this scene. First of all, opening the windows.
No!
Bro, you don't need to open the windows.
No!
It's gonna break. You don't need to do that.
That's literally fake!
So, there's one scene when the weather expert, Bob,
Oh my gosh, people, stop doing that! That's fake! That's a stupid misconception. It's fake. Opening a window for a tornado won't make it easier. In fact, I'd almost think it'd make it worse because the air would push up on your house after getting in your window, and it'd make it easier for the tornado to pull the window. Wow, holy shit, I cannot talk. Like, make it easier for the tornado to pull the roof off. There we go. Oh my
the
goodness.
tornado is at least an F5.
It's at least a 5 on the Fujita scale. It's anticyclonic.
Implying that there's something more than an F5.
Anticyclonic
F5 is the
F5
highest.
tornado.
And F6.
Holy.
They also seek shelter under an overpass. Yeah, you can do that. I kind of liked it. I know it's weird to say that, but I kind of like this movie. I mean, it's not a good movie. I'll just be honest, it's not a good movie. But something about it was just nostalgic. It kind of reminded me of my youth. The acting in this movie is, well, what you'd expect it to be. It's a made-for-TV movie. I mean, yeah, it's an old movie, I'll give it that. And to be fair, this is before Twister even, so maybe it's actually pretty good. I don't know. We're gonna go C tier. Next up, 13 Minutes. Oh, this...
Take part in the large-scale battles of War Thunder, an epic multiplayer action game with military vehicles.
This movie is very serious. It's dark, dramatic, very intense, and easily the most mature out of all the movies so far. Very emotional scenes. Which is fine, of course. I mean, that's the reality of natural disasters. They are dark and intense and often heartbreaking. The film takes place in a small fictional Oklahoma town of Minowa. According to the radar scenes, it looks like this small town is located where El Reno is. In fact, I would actually say that this movie tries to portray what would have happened if the 2013 El Reno tornado actually struck El Reno. There are a ton of characters in this movie that are loosely connected. There's the farming family, the meteorologist family, the motel crew, the auto parts employees, the hair salon squad. It's a lot. Maybe too much. The first half is not great. It's pretty slow. There is like this level of tension though, which is pretty good. I mean, there's like tornado watches in the background and you can see supercells off in the distance slowly approaching, and I like that. I appreciated the growing tension. Also, I did not like the way the movie portrayed Oklahomans. Like literally everyone's a jerk in this movie. I've been to Oklahoma. Like, people are not that bad, but this movie makes it seem like they're just really not nice.
Commission's barely worth it on deals that small. At least I can say I've done my charity work for the day.
While the characters in the first half were kind of meh, the second half got pretty intense. Any tornado-related scene was extremely well done. This movie, actually, to me, is probably the most accurate that we've watched so far. The radar images looked very accurate. There's a PDS warning and even a tornado emergency. The damage scenes looked really realistic. There are even Mamadas clouds afterwards. They talk about being weather aware, and the safety advice they give is great. The soundtrack is good too. Like, there was some, you know, and it was good. I liked it. But everything else was not great. I liked a couple of the characters, but a lot of them I could do without, honestly. And being that this was made in 2021, there were definitely political undertones that were kind of annoying. Overall, I'm thinking C tier. Next up is Tornado Valley, aka Storm in the Heartland. I think the real title is Storm in the Heartland, but the marketing team was like, yo, you gotta put tornado in the title. Wait, is it Twister Valley? Or Tornado Valley? I'm so confused. But what is that like Arial font or something? What is that font? Twister Valley is another made-for-TV movie that takes place in Cottonwood County, Minnesota. The movie centers around climate expert and meteorologist Liz, her divorced husband, who's also a storm chaser / weather expert, Matt, their curious daughter Becky, as well as Liz's sister Ellie. The movie starts off with a classic flashback to 25 years ago where Liz and Ellie are outside playing. Suddenly the wind chimes start going, and that can only mean one thing. When the wind chimes are blowing, it's a tornado. Forget about tornado watches, forget about the warnings. Look at the wind chimes. They'll tell you what you need to know. The tornado special effects in the beginning are, well, not great. In fact, definitely the worst that we've seen so far. The top of the tornado looks like it's way up in the distance, but the bottom shows it like right next to the road.
No
Definitely
kidding, what?
Perspective issues there. Also, the tornado phases like through the trees, like it doesn't even damage the trees, it just phases through them. Anyway, unfortunately, the tornado claims the mother of the sisters. It's a pretty sad scene. It's very reminiscent of the scene in Superman or whatever, when they're like, it jumps ahead 25 years to current day 2009, and Ellie is shown to have major PTSD. She's unable to go outside, and she's mute. Meanwhile, her other sister Liz took the traumatic event and turned it into like a weather career, also copying Twister. Matt is a storm researcher, and he's in charge of a group of meteorologists that are creating this like array of storm probes, and all these different storm probes can help to predict tornadoes. Yep. Just like in Twister. Look at the way these storm probes come out of the ground. Like, what? Those effects are so bad. They need one more array, but of course it's way up in Minnesota. And since he's going up to Minnesota, his boss tells him that he also has to attend this like storm conference. And guess who's in charge of the storm conference? It's his ex-wife Liz. One thing leads to another, and suddenly they're both at the farmhouse, and well, guess what? A tornado's coming. What will happen? Will Ellie finally get over her storm trauma? Will Liz and can actually watch it right now? Overall, this movie is a bad Twister clone. It did surprise me in moments. I mean, it had some pretty sweet moments that were like, oh, Also, the weather bunker is sick. Like, look at this weather. I want my studio to look like that. Like the concrete. This is like a Hallmark tornado movie. So if you've got like a mom that's like really into, you know, Hallmark, she'd probably like this movie. My mom personally would find this man very attractive. Even though there was some sweet moments, even though things got a little sentimental and I felt a little, the movie was still bad. D tier. Next up, Supercell. Supercell is the newest movie on our list, being released in March of 2023. It starts off with the classic flashback scene where the main star, William, loses his storm chaser father, Bill Brody, in a tornado. Yep, just like in Twister. Apparently his father, Bill Brody, was some legendary storm chaser who had like special storm chasing abilities. Like he could somehow feel the heartbeat or the lungs of the supercell, and he like knew where to go, and he was just a really legendary storm chaser. Fast forward to 10 years later, and William is now in high school, and like his late father before him, he also has a deep fascination with the weather and tornadoes. His mother, Gwen, was also a storm chaser back in the day. In fact, she and his late father, Bill, were like this storm chasing power couple. Now, William's really into the weather, but she obviously does not want him anywhere near tornadoes because, well, she lost her husband in one. But of course, William's storm fascination overcomes him, and he defies his mother and travels to West Texas to meet up with his Uncle Roy.
Dude, that sucks because I want to go there, but that is so far from where I live. I live in Illinois. Dude, I've observed some of these Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas cells. In my mind, they are like almost low precipitation based, but tornadoes here are shit. They are always like, they always have rain wrapping them.
Grab that. Get that. Hey.
Four.
Father. Roy currently works for a storm chasing tour company owned by Zane, played by Alec Baldwin. Overall, Supercell is the
holy shit, Alec
tornado
Baldwin
chasing movie. There's a ton of tornado Easter eggs
Big
in this
iron
movie
on
that
it.
only like super nerds would know. First of all, it's implied that William's dad, Bill Brody, perished in the 2013 El Reno tornado. During that scene, they have Gary England footage playing in the background, and his father's death is very reminiscent of the Twistex team, 3 actual storm chasers who died in real life during that event. There's a cameo appearance of Skip Talbot, a very well-known storm chaser, and this movie tried really hard to get like the science correct, and you can tell, and they did a great job with that. The tornado footage is amazing. I was watching it and I was like, wow, that looks real. And of course it is real. In fact, it's footage from Pecos Hank, so that's pretty cool. But the thing is, the real footage is not quite as dramatic as like fake tornado footage. So in a way, it's like more realistic, but it's not as entertaining. If you're really into tornadoes, you'll love this movie. You'll love the tornado fan service. But if you're just a casual viewer, you're probably going to be a little bored. I wasn't particularly interested in the main characters. William is just not very interesting at all and kind of kept annoying me slightly throughout the movie. He makes so many bad decisions, and my favorite character was Zane. He was a jerk, but also kind of hilarious at the same time. The plot is slow, but I'm glad that it's at least somewhat original. I mean, there are some Twister stuff in there. Like, he has this device that's kind of like Dorothy that can help with science and stuff. Actually, there was this one scene where he's looking up his dad, Bill. The first suggested search is Bill Paxton. That made me chuckle. No way Bill Paxton is like the first. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, Bill Burr. Yeah, not Bill Paxton. The background music I thought was really cool. It was very like John Williams.
See if there's anything there.
So it kind of reminded me of Star Wars. I don't know if it really fit the film very well, but I enjoyed it. It's a good tornado movie. It's got a lot of things going for it, but it's just kind of boring. Here's the thing. It's more realistic, which actually makes it not as entertaining as movies like Into the Storm. Do you want fake CGI tornadoes that are like entertaining, or do you want real tornadoes that aren't as entertaining? I don't know. High C tier for me. Well, we've made it to the big one. Twister. I'm sure half of you are
Twister.
like, just gonna click on
I think they're making a second movie.
Yeah, Twister. Right off the bat, I just want to say that this movie is on a whole another level in terms of production, acting, cinematography. I mean, because it is. Like, this is the only true AAA, high-budget, blockbuster tornado movie ever. In fact, it was the second highest grossing film of 1996 behind Independence Day. The film starts off 25 years ago in June of 1969 with a mega storm approaching a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere.
Tornado with a D-O-W warning.
And that's awesome. This dude...
That is... They're not wrong. If I'm not wrong, tornado warnings... They actually spelled tornado T... Like tornado, but with a W. Really weird. But they did it. Yeah, weird times back then. Ooh.
Is a TV meteorologist legend. He's like the GOAT, bro. He's a big deal. The opening scene is super intense, and we see the dad lose his life trying to protect his wife and daughter and dog. 25 years later, that same little girl, Jo, took that traumatic memory and turned it into a career of meteorology and storm chasing. She's got a full squad of late 90s weather hipsters, amongst them being the best character in the entire film, Dustin, aka Dusty, aka the Dust Man, portrayed by Philip Seymour Hoffman. Rest in peace. Dusty is awesome. He's the comic relief of this film. You know, after watching all the bad actors in all these movies, just like the small things that Philip Seymour Hoffman does as Dusty.
The extreme! Oh, manly handshake and Zeus. How you doing, man?
He's just such a good actor. I love him. The other storm chasers are cool as well. They kind of have their own unique personalities. So Jo and team have created a storm probe called Dorothy, an instrument that if sucked into the tornado via the suck zone, will give them loads of info and scientific data. The Dorothy probe was definitely inspired by Howard Bluestein and the Vortex Project. Meanwhile, we also have Bill, played by Bill Paxton, R.I.P. Bill Paxton. And he has a new fiancée named Melissa. Melissa's like this super clean, indoor city girl. You know, she's not a storm chaser. She's got that nice little suit thing. Bill used to be part of the storm chasing squad back in the day, but there was some falling out between him and Jo, and now he's a TV meteorologist. Also worth mentioning, Bill is still married to Jo. Like, he's trying to get those divorce papers signed so he can marry Melissa. You know, a little love triangle going on. So of course they meet up, and somehow they end up chasing a tornado together. The tornado effects, they kind of aged a little poorly, but for 1996, this was state-of-the-art CGI. I mean, it's nowhere near into the storm level, but the core elements like the sizing and the formations, they're good. They just age poorly. Some tornado scenes are definitely better than others. There's also these evil storm chasers, Jonah and Co. And they're like,
yeah, don't they get like the beam impaled right through the freaking windshield?
Graphics, computers. Also, they stole the concept of Dorothy from Jo, so they're just bad, all right? They're not in it to save lives. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the fame.
He's in it for the money, not the science.
Anyway, there's a couple more tornadoes, and eventually they go and see Joe's Aunt Meg in Wichita, Oklahoma. And she's awesome. Although I cannot handle the sound effects during the food scene. Oh, I hate that. Of course, every tornado movie has to explain the Fujita scale, and it's actually pretty accurate this time. Damage to base. They are so dramatic when Melissa mentions an F5.
Is there an F5? What would that be like?
Heads up.
How dare you, Melissa? Can I just say that I feel slightly bad for Melissa? I mean, she's kind of cool.
Oh, they are serving their food on not radioactive bread, but they're serving their food on Fiesta.
Compared to the rest of them.
You know what, honey? I find this kind of interesting. I'm gonna tag along.
Overall, it's the best tornado movie. What can I say? The acting is good. Well, compared to the other movies in this list. I love those helicopter shots. Those were sick. There's tons of iconic scenes. The drive-in theater Shining scene. The driving through the house scene, the flying cow scene, the characters.
Yeah, cows!
Dusty is hilarious and Aunt Meg is awesome. Iconic tornado movie. Overall, A tier. Now, you might be like, Jake, why not S tier? Why are you putting it in the A tier? This belongs in the S tier. Well, to be honest with you, I'm actually really into movies and cinema. Twister as a tornado movie is really good, but as a movie in general, it's got some issues. Many scenes are totally unrealistic and ridiculous. I mean, no one's surviving half of these scenes. At the end of the day, it's just a fun summer blockbuster disaster movie. It's not winning any Oscars. So there was one more movie that I was going to put in this tier list, and it was Christmas Twister. But this movie was so ridiculous. That movie deserves a video on its own. It might truly be the greatest tornado movie of all time. It's a masterpiece. So look out for that in the future. Maybe a little.
Dude. Yeah, that was made because this man named Harold Camping predicted the end of the world.
Look alive.
On a Tesla, and he fires it. Yes, I have it saved on my Instagram.
Here. Here. Heads up. Hey, Myrna.
Remember, I don't serve sense.
This bonus video.
Hey,
we'll
racist.
see. Well, that concludes our tornado movie list.
Tornado Iceberg?
I've got a problem that I'm pretty sure you can help me with. Yes, you will be paid for helping me. Actually paid really, really...
Yeah,
well. 50,000 subs. Thank you so much for subscribing. Tornadoes. That's what we're talking about, alright? In case you didn't know, I'm obsessed with them. And to celebrate 50,000 subs, I thought it'd be pretty sweet to do a tornado iceberg video. So that's what we're gonna do. This is just a tornadoes in general iceberg video. In case you are unfamiliar with the iceberg meme, the stuff at the very top on the surface and up in the sky, that's like really well-known stuff. And as you go down, topics become more obscure and a little bit darker. Of course, tornadoes are pretty dark in general, so the whole of this is going to be dark. And of course, I'm sure I missed many tornado topics, and in the future, I want to make an enhanced tornado iceberg. So be sure to share more topics in the comments to feature in a future video. This is just part one because this took way longer than I thought. But yeah, let's get into the video. Starting way up in the sky, we have some really, really obvious tornado topics that I just want to go over really quickly. The first one being tornado versus hurricane. I was talking to a friend recently, and they said, What's the difference between a tornado and a hurricane?
Facepalm.
And I was like...
There's a pretty big difference. One's a giant tropical storm that actually can spawn tornadoes. The other one is a local, isolated, more smaller... Oh my goodness. BRB stream. dude, I'm gonna turn myself into an Orbeez juggernaut. I'm dead ass about. I just bought some armor, and now I'm about to just completely whoop some A's. You know what, guys? You know what, guys? I'd say it. I'm gonna sign off early. Why can't I do that all the time? Guys, I'm signing off early.